Hello, this is Victor with Revit Experiments, and today I have a very interesting guest here. This is Jaime from Nonica. And Nonica is a very interesting app that allows you to put your Dynamo scripts in Revit's ribbon. And to be honest, initially I thought this is just duplicating the functionality of the Dynamo Player, and I didn't think much of it. But when Jaime showed me what the program actually does, I saw that it really has a lot more value than that, and it's doing a lot more than that. But you're going to hear more from him, and make sure to stand till the end of the video, because at the end I'm going to have a surprise for you.
Okay, thank you very much, Victor, for the introduction. I'm very happy to be here today here in your YouTube channel and to be sharing some of what the things we do at Nonica. And I'm gonna share my screen just to show you a brief presentation. It's not gonna be a full-fledged presentation, but rather like a brief introduction of some of the things we have. Well, we explain in the masterclass in the course of Victor in Udemy. So if you want more information, you can go in there. Yeah. Okay. Do you see my screen? Okay, so I'm going to be talking today about how to integrate and deploy Dynamo scripts at scale. So basically, we are like a startup, a small company based in Delft, in Netherlands, and we are specialized in the integration of Dynamo scripts as Revit bottoms. We also, develop automation strategies for companies. We integrate and deploy visual programming script for them, but mainly we are now going to focus in the solution we have. Let's say, well, our solutions, as Victor introduced, started as simple Revit bottoms that we can customize with Dynamo scripts, but it went farther than that. We enable much more features and capabilities. We're gonna go in this presentation through some of them. So basically, when we install our add-in, Nonica Tab Pro, which is available in the App Store, we can simply customize the bottoms very easily. We can go into a bottom that is empty, and then we select a Dynamo script. It goes straight into the bottom, and then we can select an icon. We have a full library of icons. You can select one from or select any other image from your computer. And then we can basically change the name or description in the bottom. That is very powerful if you want to present your Dynamo scripts the same way that any other Revit bottom looks like, which is quite intuitive for Revit users. From there, similarly to Dynamo Player, well, as a summary before going into more detail, I think it's good to say that our app is kind of like a very advanced version of the Dynamo Player. We have much more things for you to access and deploy your scripts. So the execution, for example, we detect input nodes. So basically, when you press the button, what is going to happen is that Dynamo is going to be run in the background. If there are any input nodes in your script, those are going to be detected, and you can change the values before running your scripts. So in this case, it's a class detection scripts, and we have 3 input values. 2 of them are Revit categories. We're going to choose walls and floors. And the third one, as you can see, we can, for example, freeze that node in Dynamo before running them, or we can change the value of the string. As soon as we run it, we get notified that the script was run successfully. This happens every time a Dynamo script is run. In this case, the execution was successful, but let's assume that we had some errors or warnings in our execution. So we could actually go into the notification cloud, click on it, and we will get a full report of all the nodes that were with errors, warnings, or frozen. This gives us much more information about which part of the scripts are bringing the errors, which part are not being run, and how our Dynamo scripts are being used. Then once, let's say, we have set up all our bottoms, with icons, description, shortcuts, playlists, all these features. We can basically share them. So we can, in 2 clicks, we can just go into the settings panel and we can click on export. From there, we select that we want to include shortcuts, and then we're gonna create a .nonica file. We can include information about the versioning, the user, date time, and description of the toolbar. Whenever we include that information, we can overwrite the file. And basically, when we overwrite the file, what is going to be created is a .nonica file. That single .nonica file is going to include all the information about your bottoms. It's going to include icons, names, description, shortcuts, the playlist you created that we are not going to explain in this video, but you can have a look in Victor channel, in Victor course. All the information about your bottoms, but also all the Dynamo scripts and their packages. Their packages are going to be included in the .nonica file, and whenever you import them in another computer, those are going to be installed automatically. This really is a way of saving a lot of time of manual installing of packages when you're sharing your scripts. And as you're going to see, it's very simple to import bottoms in a computer. So we basically just click in the import button, and then we're going to select a different .nonica file just to show you how it works. And that's it. As soon as we select it, all the bottoms come straight away, all the scripts, all the packages are installed, so we can just click on a bottom and run the scripts. We then decided to take the sharing of the scripts to the next level, and we wanted to provide the users with data about how their execution were in teams. So we developed a system that is built in Revit. So you no longer need to go to Power BI or Excel to develop your own custom graphs. You can just go in Revit and in 2 clicks have this dashboard ready for you. Basically, we have 4 graphs. We have in the top left, we have the overall execution status. Here you're going to see all the execution that took place, also how many were with errors or warnings. In the right, you have the timeline. The timeline includes information about the executions over time. So you can see if there are more executions now than before, if there are more errors now than before, and how your automation strategies evolve over time. Then at the right, we have a pie chart that shows the number of users using different software versions. So we could see who is using which Dynamo version or which Revit version. This is actually quite helpful to detect compatibility issues, that sometimes there are some between the 2 softwares. And then at the bottom, we have the execution per Dynamo script. This is actually very powerful because this gives us information about which specific Dynamo script was run more often and which one, for example, brought more errors. So we can work on those that are bringing more errors and update them in the toolbar, or maintain, for example, those that are more helpful and more useful for our teams. In order to visualize these graphs is just going into the data analytics, and all the graphs are interactive. So whenever the mouse hover over the graph, you're going to get the data point and all the specific information about that part of the graph. That brings a lot of information about how your automation strategies goes. But you can also switch between time frames. You can switch to 18 months, to 60 days, to 48 hours. So it's a really flexible system that is built in by default for you to explore your automation. And then at the bottom, as we said, we first have the execution per script, but we also have the execution per user. So we can actually see which specific user run more scripts and which other run less script. This is quite powerful to propose, for example, trainings in teams, or to reassign licenses of software if someone is not making use of a certain software. let's say the dashboard that we show pretty much shows the key information that we thought was helpful for you, but every time you push Nonica tab bottom, much more information is gathered. So basically, these 15 field of information are gathered locally in your computer, and you can, if you are interested, build in your own graphs or analyze that with Excel or Power BI, for example, if you want. But we're not going to go through that. And what we wanted to present here was about how you can get a free license of this software. Victor and we have made a collaboration, and we want to, well, we are providing the students from the course of Victor in Udemy free licenses of the pro version of our add-in. And basically, the licenses are valid for 6 months. So if you're a student of his course, you can simply follow these 3 steps to get verified and to get your 6 months license for free. Basically, what you need to do is to go to the App Store and download the 30-day free trial of our Pro version. It's important that you download the Pro version and not the free version. Once you get the free version, then you need to send us to education@nonica.io a proof of enrollment from Victor course. That could be like the email, the confirmation email from Udemy, the one you receive when you pay. And it's important that you send the proof of enrollment from the same email that you downloaded the pro version from the App Store. Basically, your account from the App Store is linked to an Autodesk account, and if we need you to send the proof of enrollment from that account, so we can actually find your license and extend it. That's all you need to do. Once you take the first step, you download and start using, and then we extend in our system your license, and you can keep using it with no modification on your side. And we get quite often questions from users like, how can I use your software if I use, for example, a network license, or if I see that I'm not signing as a single user? And of course you can. So if your Revit shows this image, there's no worry about that. We also need the same we also need you to follow the same steps, so we can verify your account in the same way as any other Revit user. Then I want to also explain that we have a YouTube channel that we describes in more detail every of the features that we have seen here and others that are not included in this presentation. So also feel free to have a look to it if you're interested in more features or videos about how to integrate and share your Dynamo scripts and much more than that, taking automation to the next level. That's the end of the presentation. I hope you like it. Yeah, Victor, if you have questions, you're the audience here.
That's a great presentation, very concise. Thank you for showing this. And that was the surprise that I was talking about. My students of the Dynamo from Zero to Hero course on Udemy are getting a free license for Nonica. And I think everyone who has used Dynamo, especially in an office with multiple users, has already seen how great this little tool is. Like, I was really impressed with the way Nonica gathers these packages, so you don't need to install them, because that is one of the problems when you distribute scripts in your office and you want different people to use them. And the moment someone can't run a certain script because they don't have a package installed or something like that, they kind of lose their enthusiasm of using Dynamo, because You expect that automation, you expect things to be done quickly and easily, and then you run into a bunch of problems. I think what you showed here solves most of them, and the data analysis seems to be very good as well. So the BIM manager or coordinator in the office, or whoever is responsible for these Dynamo deployments, they can see what's being used and what's not being used, and they can also investigate why. For example, like let's say the BIM responsible has made a great script that saves a lot of time, but then you see that people are not actually using it. Then you can go and check that maybe there is some problem, maybe there is a bug in your script. And yeah, it seems very good. I'm not sure if I have any concrete questions right now. Maybe I was wondering, when you were showing the data analysis, if you could export that outside of Revit, even though it's great that you can see that directly in Revit. Can you export it?
Yeah, actually in the same window, there is like a button that is export to image, and you can just click on there, and then the current view of the graphs are going to be exported to a GPG image, so you can share with whoever you want.
And that's great. You've thought of everything, it seems.
Thank you very much.
I'm curious, because you mentioned that you started with just the basic functionality, just getting the Dynamo graphs to the ribbon. And did you start this for yourself, or?
Yeah, we are two co-founders. So we were like really techie and getting into Dynamo at first, and then we got interested into taking this into solving the issues that we found actually when we were trying to deploy in the R scripts. So that's how we got into this project. Initially, it was a very let's say clunky version that we have like a folder system that you were putting in the Dynamo scripts, and you needed to restart Revit. But we have like really been working on this solution for 2 years or even more than 2 years. And then the whole experience of the user is really different. It's directly from Revit. You don't need to go outside to do anything. It's all integrated. And you can drive your strategies, develop them, and integrate them directly in there.
That's great. It looks great. I'm pretty sure that the best way to appreciate it is to actually try it, and now you can try the full version for free. So thank you for providing this opportunity for my students. And yeah, if you have anything more to add, I would be happy to hear. And if not, we can.
Not really. I'm very happy to be here. It was something that I really was looking forward. I've seen some of the other videos you have done, so I think I wanted to also thank you for giving us the opportunity to share what we do and to let more people know what we are doing. So thank you very much, Victor.
Okay, so that was all for today from us. Thank you, Jaime, one more time, and make sure to go and check Nonica. And see you next time.